want to do something like that. I put in here, this was a comment that it popped up when I was in here. Service helps us to live in the world, but not be of the world. I think that's a pretty good point to make. It gets rid of the thoughts that we have, and I put in here where we're talking about when we start dealing with service and with Jesus washing their feet, he kind of did away with the pecking order. And I mean, the chicken's just not going to behave until they get the pecking order. But we do that. We're a bunch of chickens. We really are. In a lot of aspects, and then especially in our world, in our culture today, there's always, it doesn't take long for us to figure that out. The chickens figure it out, so do we. We do the same thing. Where people sit, how they talk to people, who gives way when another one's talking, who's doing this, who's doing that, how people walk in relation to one another. We have a pecking order. I mean, it's part of things that we do. The point here is not that we're not to do away with all the leadership and the authority, the roles that we play. I think the point here is that Jesus redefined leadership, and then he rearranged the lines of authority. Maybe he changed the definition of what we, or what Peter, the disciples, thought was authority, but it really wasn't. I mean, they had in their mind what authority should be, but he changed their mind and kind of redefined it, so to speak, I would say. Jesus never taught that everyone had equal authority, but his focus was on spiritual authority. He was, for better words, you're talking about the pecking order, he was trying to neutralize, he was trying to back off of the pecking order of this world. And it wasn't an authority to manipulate and control, but an authority of function. It was an authority of function and not so much of a status symbol that we go through. Then we get to Matthew chapter 20 and verses 25 through 28. I'm going to go to 24. And when the 10 heard it, they were indignant at the two brothers, but Jesus called them to him and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. It shall not be so among you, but whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be your slave, even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So I guess what I'm trying to say and what the gist of that is, the spiritual authority of Jesus is an authority not found in a position or a title, but I would say that it is more found in the towel than it is, being a servant and not just saying you are, those type of things. So I'm going to compare these. This is just pretty tough to go over. I mean, you'll see that. I'm going to talk about self-righteous service versus true service, which goes into the same thing that we talked about last week about submission and how is our heart into it. Can we be submissive but our heart's not in it? And we can do that to an extent, but it makes it very difficult. What do you see as the difference between self-righteous service and true service? What's the difference in those?
I think humility plays a part in that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said, I think humility.
Humility?
Yes.
No, we're going to get into humility. You're absolutely right. You're stealing my lesson. Yes?
I think of what Jesus taught in Matthew chapter 6, that whether you're getting your rewards here on earth or whether you're doing this actually as service to them, are you doing this in service to God, or are you doing this so that you can get a reward?
Right. That's right. That's right. Are we glorifying God versus man?
Glorifying ourselves.
And glorifying
What I
ourselves.
did versus look at what God is doing through us.
That's right. self-righteous, I mean, another way of saying it, self-righteous service would be earthly, and then you can look at true service would be more divine, I guess we could say it like that.
Well, Lacy, if I have to tell you on how much I'm doing, then it becomes all about me.
That's right.
If you don't have a clue, then it's more directed at actually being a service to people.
That's right. That's absolutely right. I may have to let y'all talk less because you're stealing all my notes.
That way you can get through all 12.
You'll be out early, I guess, huh? So self-righteous, impressed with the big deal. You know, so it's part of, you know, it's the big things more and not into the little things. I think true service gets into, it's hard to distinguish between the large and the small issues. You don't care. You don't care if they're mundane, ordinary. You just do those things. I think the true service or a true servant is mostly drawn to the small service because he or she sees it as more important. Why would you think that people that have true service in their heart, why would they go towards, I mean, why would they thrive in the mundane, the things that a lot of people are going to go, I ain't going to do that. That's beneath me. They may not say that out loud, but they're thinking it in their head.
When they do that, they're being led by the Spirit. As the Spirit is prompting them to, hey, this needs to be done. And if the Spirit is prompting you, it's important.
It is. It is. It's very interesting how that's a level. I mean, it's when you get to where you're being led by the Spirit, that's the level we're trying to achieve. That's where we're trying to get to. But we're human, and sometimes we get led by other things than the Spirit, and it makes it difficult to stay where, you know, right on track where we should be. There's a lot, like I said, we said there's fewer to do the small things, but the need is there.